Missing stars and big questions. What's really going on at Man Utd training? Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your trusted source for all things Manchester United. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel where we bring you the latest news, match analysis, and exclusive insights about our beloved Red Devils. We work hard every single day to keep you informed and connected to everything happening at Old Trafford and beyond. Today we're diving deep into some concerning news that broke just days before one of the biggest matches of the season. Our trip to Anfield to face Liverpool is right around the corner, and suddenly we're hearing about multiple key players missing from training. Bruno Fernandes, our captain and creative heartbeat, wasn't there. Neither were Casemiro, Ahmad, or even Matheus Cunha according to initial reports. What's going on? Are we facing an injury crisis at the worst possible time? Is this part of some tactical master plan? Or is there something else brewing behind the scenes? Let's break down everything we know, what it might mean for the Liverpool match, and why this situation has so many United fans worried heading into such a massive fixture. The news that got everyone talking. Picture this. It's Thursday morning, just a few days before we travel to face our biggest rivals at Anfield. Training sessions at this point in the week are crucial. The coaching staff needs everyone sharp and focused. The players need to gel together and work on the game plan. This is when you expect to see your entire squad out there, putting in the work. But that's not what happened. Reports came through that 4 players were nowhere to be seen at Carrington. Bruno Fernandes, the man who wears the captain's armband and pulls the strings in midfield, was absent. Casemiro, our experienced Brazilian midfielder who's supposed to provide stability and leadership, wasn't there either. Ahmad, the young talent who impressed so much last season, was missing. And there were even mentions of Matheus Cunha being absent too. Now, before we all start panicking, let's be clear about something. The club has stated that the head coach granted these players time off. This wasn't a case of players going missing or refusing to show up. The manager made a decision to give them a break from training. But here's the question everyone is asking. Why now? Why just days before the biggest match we've had in weeks? Understanding the international break factor. To really understand what might be happening here, we need to talk about the international break. You know how it goes. The Premier League pauses, players fly off to represent their countries, and they end up playing matches all over the world. It sounds glamorous, but it's actually incredibly demanding on the players physically and mentally. Let's start with Bruno Fernandes. Our captain travelled with Portugal for their international fixtures. He wasn't just along for the ride either. Bruno played a key role in Portugal's victory against Ireland. Then they faced Hungary and managed a draw. That's 2 competitive matches in the space of a few days, played with high intensity because national pride is on the line. Playing for your country is different from club football in some ways. The pressure is unique. You're representing millions of people back home. Every touch matters. Every pass is scrutinized. And Portugal, being a top football nation with high expectations, doesn't do friendly kickabouts. These were serious matches where Bruno had to give everything. Now think about Casemiro. The Brazilian midfielder had an even more demanding schedule. Brazil played matches in Asia. That means long flights, time zone changes, and jet lag. They faced South Korea first and managed to win that game. Then came Japan, and despite Brazil leading by 2 goals, they ended up losing. Imagine how draining that must have been, both physically from the travel and emotionally from throwing away a 2-goal lead. The travel alone is exhausting. Flying from Manchester to Asia takes around 12 to 14 hours depending on the route. Your body clock gets completely thrown off. You land, try to adjust quickly, train, play a match, recover, play another match, and then fly all the way back. By the time you return to Manchester, your legs feel heavy, your mind is foggy, and your body is screaming for rest. This is the reality that people sometimes forget when they see players missing training. It's not just about the 90 minutes on the pitch. It's about everything that surrounds those matches. The travel, the time zones, the different climates, the different playing styles, the mental pressure of representing your nation. All of it adds up. The load management debate. So we come to an interesting question. Is this what people call load management? Are we seeing a manager who understands that sometimes the best thing for a player is rest rather than more training? Load management has become a huge topic in modern football. Teams play so many matches these days. Premier League, cup competitions, European tournaments, international breaks. The schedule is relentless. Players are expected to perform at peak level week after week, month after month. But here's the thing about human bodies. They're not machines. They need recovery time. Some of the top clubs in the world have started taking this seriously. They track every single data point about their players. How many kilometers did they run? What was their sprint speed? How high was their heart rate? How much sleep did they get? All of this information helps coaching staff make decisions about when to push players and when to pull them back. Think about it from a practical standpoint. If Bruno Fernandes just played 2 high-intensity matches for Portugal, flew back from Europe, and is now expected to train hard just to turn around and play 90 minutes at Anfield in a few days, what happens? Maybe he gets through it fine. Or maybe his tired legs lead to a muscle injury that keeps him out for 6 weeks. Suddenly that one training session doesn't seem so important, does it? The same logic applies to Casemiro. After flying back from Asia, his body is probably still adjusting. Jet lag is real. Studies have shown that it takes about 1 day per time zone to fully recover from long-distance travel. If Brazil played in a time zone that's 8 or 9 hours different from Manchester, Casemiro might still be feeling the effects days later. This is where modern coaching comes in. A good manager doesn't just think about the next match. They think about the next 10 matches. They think about keeping players healthy for the long season ahead. If giving Bruno and Casemiro an extra day or 2 of rest means they'll be sharper and less likely to get injured, that's probably the smart move even if it looks concerning from the outside. What about Ahmad and the Cunha confusion? Now let's talk about the other 2 names mentioned in the reports. Amad Diallo is a player who really caught people's attention last season. Even when United were struggling as a team, this young winger showed flashes of real quality. He's got pace, skill, and an eye for goal. Fans have been excited to see him kick on this season and become a regular starter, so why was Ahmad missing from training? The reports aren't entirely clear. He might have been dealing with a minor knock or just needed some extra recovery time. Sometimes young players need careful management because their bodies are still developing and adapting to the demands of top-level football. At his age, it's better to be cautious than to push through something small that becomes something big. Then there's the Matheus Cunha situation, and this is where things get really interesting. The original reports mentioned Cunha as one of the absent players, claiming he joined United from Wolves in the summer. But here's the problem with that. It's not true. Matheus Cunha plays for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He didn't transfer to Manchester United. There's no record of any such move happening. This raises some important questions about the information we're getting. Was this a simple reporting error where someone got confused? Was it a case of mistaken identity where another player was misidentified? Or is there something else going on with how this story was put together? For those of us who follow United closely, this kind of mistake is concerning because it makes us question the reliability of the entire report. If they got something as basic as which team a player plays for wrong, what else might be inaccurate? This is why it's so important to be critical consumers of information and to verify things when something doesn't sound quite right. The Cunha confusion aside, the main point stands. We know for certain that Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro were absent from training. Those are facts that multiple sources have confirmed. The reasons might be exactly what the club says, recovery and load management after international duty, or there might be more to the story that we'll learn in the coming days. Looking at the bigger picture of United's season. To really understand why this training news matters so much, we need to zoom out and look at how United's season has gone so far. It hasn't been the start anyone wanted. 7 games played, 3 defeats already. That's not the kind of record that fills you with confidence heading into a match against Liverpool at Anfield. Let's break down those 3 losses. 2 of them came against top 6 rivals. Manchester City beat us, which hurts but isn't entirely surprising given the quality they have. Arsenal also got the better of us. These are the kinds of matches where you really see the gap between where United are right now and where the elite teams are operating. The concern isn't just that we lost those games. It's how we lost them. Did we look like a team with a clear identity and plan? Were we competitive even if the results didn't go our way? Or did we look like a team still trying to figure out what it wants to be? These are the questions fans are asking. Sitting in mid-table at this point in the season is not where Manchester United should be. This is a club with history, resources, and expectations. Mid-table is for teams who are happy just to stay in the Premier League. United should be fighting for titles and Champions League spots. The fact that we're not doing that right now is a source of real frustration. Now we face a trip to Anfield to play Liverpool. This is never an easy fixture. The atmosphere there is intense. The crowd is right on top of you. Liverpool players seem to raise their game even higher for this match because of the rivalry. And our recent record there is not good at all. When was the last time United actually won at Anfield? It's been years. We managed a draw there last season, which felt like a decent result given how things have been going. But a draw doesn't change the narrative. It doesn't give you momentum. It doesn't make a statement. United need to start winning these big matches, especially away from home, if we're going to be taken seriously as a top team again. The Fernandes and Casemiro partnership. One of the interesting points raised in the reports was about Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro playing together in midfield. This partnership has sparked a lot of debate among fans and pundits. Some people think it works. Others think it's holding the team back. Let's dig into why this matters. Bruno Fernandes is naturally an attacking midfielder. His best qualities come from being high up the pitch, finding space between the lines, playing those killer passes, and getting into the box to score goals. When he's playing deeper in midfield, some of that attacking threat gets reduced. He's spending more time recycling possession and less time creating chances. The question is whether that trade-off is worth it. Does having Bruno deeper help the team overall even if it limits his individual attacking output? Or are we wasting his best qualities by asking him to play a role that doesn't suit his strengths? Then there's Casemiro. When he first arrived at United, he looked like exactly what the team needed. Experience, winning mentality, ability to break up play, leadership. But there have been concerns about his mobility. Football at the top level is incredibly fast. Midfielders need to cover ground quickly, close down space, and keep up with rapid transitions from defense to attack. Some people watching United this season have suggested that Casemiro doesn't quite have the legs to do everything required in the holding midfield role anymore. That's not a criticism of his quality or his understanding of the game. It's just a reality that as players get older, they sometimes lose that yard of pace that made them so effective. When you put these two together in midfield, you have to wonder if it's the right combination. Do they complement each other? Does Bruno's energy make up for Casemiro's lack of mobility? Or do their weaknesses get exposed because neither one is playing in their ideal role? These are the tactical questions that the coaching staff needs to figure out. And maybe that's another reason why giving them some extra rest and recovery time makes sense. When they do train and play together, they need to be sharp enough to make the partnership work. What this means for the Liverpool match. Let's get to what everyone really wants to know. What does this training situation mean for the Liverpool match coming up on Sunday? Will Bruno and Casemiro be ready to play? Should we be worried? The good news is that missing 1 or 2 training sessions isn't necessarily a disaster. Professional footballers train so much throughout the season that their fitness levels stay high even with some rest days. If Bruno and Casemiro are genuinely just recovering from international duty and will be fresh for Sunday, that could actually be better than having them train hard all week on tired legs. The concern would be if there's something more going on. If Bruno is dealing with a knock or a niggle that he picked up with Portugal, that's a different story. Same with Casemiro. If the international matches have left them with minor injuries rather than just fatigue, then we might be looking at them missing the Liverpool game or playing when they're not fully fit. Playing at Anfield when you're not 100% is asking for trouble. Liverpool will press high, run hard, and try to overwhelm you physically. If our key midfielders are carrying injuries or haven't recovered properly from international duty, Liverpool will exploit that weakness without mercy. There's also the question of match sharpness. Players need rhythm. They need to be training with their teammates, working on patterns of play, understanding positioning and movement. If Bruno and Casemiro have been away with their national teams and then missed training sessions, will they be on the same wavelength as the rest of the squad come Sunday? These are the kinds of details that can make the difference in big matches. You need everyone synchronized. Everyone needs to know where their teammates are going to be. The timing of passes needs to be perfect. Understanding and chemistry matter just as much as individual quality. The Ahmad situation and squad depth. Let's not forget about Ahmad in all of this. His absence from training might seem less significant than Bruno or Casemiro being missing, but it actually raises some important points about squad depth and rotation. Last season, even when United were struggling, Ahmad showed that he has something special. He's the kind of player who can unlock defenses with a moment of skill or a clever run. For a young player in a team that wasn't playing well, he held his own and then some. That earned him a lot of credit with the fans. This season, everyone expected Ahmad to build on that. To become more consistent, to add more goals and assists, to establish himself as a regular starter. But it hasn't quite happened yet. He's been in and out of the team. The performances haven't reached the level we saw glimpses of last season. Why is that? Is it just the natural development curve for a young player? Is the team's overall struggles making it harder for him to shine? Or is he dealing with fitness issues that are preventing him from hitting his stride? If Ahmad is missing training for fitness reasons, that's a concern. United need him to be available and contributing. The squad isn't deep enough with quality options to have talented players sitting on the sidelines. Every match matters, and having Ahmad fit and firing could be the difference between winning and losing. The Liverpool match might not be the right game for Ahmad anyway. Anfield is a tough place for experienced players, let alone young ones still finding their feet. But United have a long season ahead. There will be plenty of matches where having Ahmad available would be hugely valuable. Squad depth and injury concerns. Speaking of squad depth, the reports also mentioned a couple of other players who weren't at training. Nasser Mazraoui has missed the last 2 matches with a minor injury. Lisandro Martinez, the Argentine defender, wasn't at training either, though he's working his way back from knee surgery. These absences start to add up. Football squads look big on paper. You've got 25 or 30 players registered. But in reality, you can only field 11 at a time, and you need those 11 to be your best options. When you start having multiple players unavailable, suddenly your squad doesn't look so deep anymore. Mazraoui's absence means someone else has to play in his position. Is that replacement as good? Probably not, or Mazraoui wouldn't be first choice. So the team gets slightly weaker. Same with Martinez. If he's not available and someone else has to fill in at centre-back, that's a downgrade in quality. Now add in Bruno and Casemiro potentially being less than 100% and Ahmad's fitness questions, and suddenly United are going into the Liverpool match with more question marks than you'd like. Liverpool, meanwhile, will be fresh from their own international break and eager to bounce back after some poor results before the break. This is where squad management throughout the season becomes so important. You can't just think about one match. You have to think about how you're going to get through 38 league matches plus cup competitions. You need players to be available consistently. You need to rotate smartly so that no one gets overworked and breaks down. The best teams in the world are good at this. They have strong squads where they can rotate players without dropping quality too much. They manage workloads carefully. They bring players back from injury gradually rather than rushing them. United need to get better at all of these things if they want to compete at the top level again. The bigger questions about management and direction. All of this brings us to some bigger questions about the direction of the club. Training absences and injury concerns are part of football. Every team deals with them. But when you're sitting in mid-table after 7 games and facing a tough trip to Anfield, every little issue gets magnified. Are the players being managed correctly? Is the training load appropriate? Is there a clear plan for how to navigate the busy schedule? These are questions that the coaching staff need to have answers for. Some fans will look at players missing training and see a lack of discipline or commitment. Others will see sensible management and player care. The truth is probably somewhere in between. Modern football is complicated. There are so many factors that go into whether a player trains or rests on any given day. What matters most is results. If United go to Anfield and put in a strong performance, if Bruno and Casemiro look fresh and play well, then the decision to give them extra rest will look smart. If United look sluggish and disjointed, if the missing training sessions show up as a lack of sharpness, then people will question whether it was the right call. That's the pressure of managing a club like Manchester United. Every decision gets scrutinized. Every choice is analyzed and debated. You don't get the benefit of the doubt when results aren't going well. The only way to quiet the critics is to start winning matches consistently. What the reports got wrong and why it matters. Before we move forward, we really need to address the Matheus Cunha situation one more time because it highlights something important about how we consume football news. The original report stated that Cunha joined United from Wolves in the summer. This is factually wrong. Cunha plays for Wolves. He didn't transfer to United. There's no ambiguity here. It's just incorrect information. So how does something like this happen? Maybe it was a simple mistake where names got confused. Maybe someone was working on multiple stories and details got mixed up. Maybe there was a miscommunication somewhere in the reporting chain. Whatever the reason, it ended up in a published article that people read and potentially believed. This is why we always need to be critical readers of football news. Not everything you read is accurate, even from established sources. Mistakes happen. Sometimes reporters get things wrong. Sometimes sources provide bad information. Sometimes there's confusion or miscommunication. As fans, our job is to read multiple sources, check facts when something seems off, and use common sense. If someone reports that a high-profile player transferred clubs and you don't remember hearing anything about it at the time, that's a red flag. Big transfers don't happen in secret. They're major news stories. This is exactly why we work so hard here at United Daily Updates to bring you reliable, verified information. We check our facts. We look at multiple sources. We don't just repeat every rumor or report that comes across social media. We try to give you the real story, not just the first story. Liverpool's current situation. To understand what United are walking into at Anfield, we need to talk about where Liverpool are right now as a team. The reports mentioned that Liverpool had lost 3 consecutive matches before the international break. They lost to Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, and Chelsea. That's unusual for Liverpool, especially losing at home. Wait, actually that's another problem with the original reporting. It claimed all 3 of those losses were away fixtures and that Liverpool had been unbeaten at Anfield in the Premier League since September 2024. These kinds of details matter because they shape how we understand the upcoming match. If Liverpool really have been struggling lately, if they've lost momentum and confidence, then maybe this is a good time for United to face them. Maybe they're vulnerable. Maybe this is United's chance to get a result at a ground where they've struggled for years. But we need to be careful about buying into narratives that might not be accurate. Liverpool are a quality team. They have excellent players, a good manager, and a strong home record historically. Even if they've had some poor results recently, they're dangerous, especially at Anfield where the atmosphere alone is worth a goal. United can't go into this match thinking it will be easy or that Liverpool are there for the taking. That's a recipe for disaster. They need to be prepared, focused, and ready for a battle. Liverpool will be desperate to bounce back from any poor form, and what better way to do that than beating Manchester United at home? The importance of this match. Let's be clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just another Premier League match. This is Liverpool versus Manchester United. This is one of the biggest rivalries in English football. When these two teams meet, form goes out the window. History comes into play. Pride is on the line. For United, getting a result at Anfield would be massive. It would show that the team is moving in the right direction. It would give the players and fans confidence. It would make a statement to the rest of the league that United are back to being competitors. A loss, on the other hand, would raise more questions. It would continue the pattern of United struggling in big matches away from home. It would leave the team still searching for consistency and still sitting in mid-table looking up at the teams they should be competing with. For the players, this is a chance to prove themselves. Bruno Fernandes is the captain. He needs to lead by example and show why he's trusted with that armband. Casemiro is the experienced winner who's been there and done it all. He needs to bring that mentality and help the team deal with the pressure of Anfield. For the young players like Ahmad, if they get their chance, this is an opportunity to announce themselves on the big stage. These are the matches that define careers. These are the moments that fans remember years later. What United need to do at Anfield. So what does a good performance look like for United at Anfield? What do they need to do to get a result? First, they need to be solid defensively. Liverpool will come at them, especially in the first 20 minutes when Anfield is rocking. United need to weather that storm. They need to be organised, compact, and disciplined. No silly mistakes. No cheap giveaways in dangerous areas. Second, they need to be brave on the ball. It's easy to go to Anfield and just try to survive, to defend deep and hope for the best. But that rarely works. United need to show they can play football too. When they get the ball, they need to keep it, move it forward, and create chances of their own. Third, they need their best players to step up. Bruno needs to be the creative force. Casemiro needs to control the midfield. The forwards need to take their chances when they come. In big matches, you need your big players to deliver. Fourth, they need to stay mentally strong for 90 minutes. At Anfield, if you concede early, the crowd gets even louder and the pressure intensifies. United need to show character. If they go behind, they need to fight back. If it's tight and nervy, they need to stay calm and composed. Finally, they need a bit of luck. Football is rarely decided purely on quality. Sometimes you need a deflection to go your way, or a refereeing decision to fall in your favour, or an opponent to miss a great chance. United will need some of that good fortune to get something from this match. The role of the manager. In all of this, the manager's decisions will be crucial. The reports mentioned Ruben Amorim as United's head coach, though there's some confusion about whether that's actually accurate or another reporting error. Whoever is in charge, they have big decisions to make. Do you start Bruno and Casemiro despite them missing training? Or do you rest them and bring in fresh legs? Do you go with a defensive setup to try and get a point? Or do you go more attacking and try to win the match? Do you trust young players in such a high-pressure environment? Or do you stick with experience? These are the kinds of choices that define a manager. Get them right and you're a genius. Get them wrong and you're under pressure. That's the job. That's what comes with managing Manchester United. The manager also needs to prepare the team mentally. Going to Anfield is intimidating. The tunnel, the crowd, the "You'll Never Walk Alone" anthem before kickoff, it's all designed to make visiting teams feel small. United's players need to embrace that challenge, not shrink from it, learning from the past. United's recent history at Anfield isn't pretty. Years of losses and just the occasional draw. But history doesn't have to repeat itself. Every match is a new opportunity. Every 90 minutes is a blank canvas. What can United learn from the times they've done well at Anfield? Usually it's been when they've defended well and taken their chances on the counter-attack. Liverpool like to dominate possession and push forward. That can leave space in behind for quick transitions. If United can be clinical when those opportunities come, if they can defend resolutely when Liverpool have the ball, and if they can handle the pressure of the occasion, there's no reason they can't get a result. The players who have succeeded at Anfield in the past are the ones who stayed calm, who didn't get rattled by the atmosphere, and who executed the game plan. That's what United need on Sunday. The fans' perspective. For United fans, this match brings a mixture of hope and anxiety. Hope because it's always possible to win. This is football. Anything can happen over 90 minutes. Anxiety because recent form hasn't been good and Anfield is such a tough place to go. Fans will be watching Bruno's fitness closely. They'll want to see him start and be at his best. Same with Casemiro. These are the players who need to deliver if United are going to have any chance. There's also frustration that this is even a conversation. Manchester United should be going to Anfield confident of competing, not worrying about whether key players will be fit or sharp enough. The fact that we're having these concerns shows where the club is right now. But fans also know that this is when teams can make a statement. This is when United can show they're on the way back. Beat Liverpool at Anfield and suddenly the narrative changes. Suddenly people start believing again. The broader context of the season. This match doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a long season with many challenges ahead. United need to start stringing together good performances and results. One good match isn't enough. One win doesn't solve everything. But you have to start somewhere. You have to build momentum. And what better way to do that than with a statement result against your biggest rivals? The season is still young. There's plenty of time to turn things around. But time moves quickly in football. Bad starts can be hard to recover from. The longer United stay in mid-table, the harder it becomes to climb up to where they need to be. Every match from now on feels important. Every 3 points matters. United can't afford to waste opportunities. They need to maximize every chance they get to pick up wins. What happens next? After the Liverpool match, United will have a better sense of where they stand. If they get a good result, confidence grows and the team can build from there. If they don't, more questions get asked and the pressure increases. The players who missed training this week will need to prove they're ready for the challenge. Bruno needs to show he's the leader this team needs. Casemiro needs to demonstrate he can still perform at the highest level. Ahmad needs to stay fit and push for his chance. The coaching staff need to get their decisions right. Player management, tactical setup, in-game adjustments, all of it matters. United need everyone pulling in the same direction. And the fans need to stay patient while also holding the team accountable. That's a difficult balance. You want to support the team while also expecting better. You want to give players time to gel and develop while also demanding results. The training ground as a window into the team. Training sessions might seem like a small thing, but they tell you a lot about a team. Who's there, who's missing, how hard everyone is working, whether there's energy and focus or lethargy and distraction. The fact that we're even talking about players missing training shows how much scrutiny United are under. Every detail gets noticed. Every absence gets questioned. That's what happens when you're not winning consistently. If United want the focus to shift back to football and away from these kinds of concerns, they need to start performing on match days. They need to give people positive things to talk about instead of worrying about who was or wasn't at training. Moving forward with purpose. United are at a crossroads. The season could still go either way. They could kick on from here, get some momentum, and climb the table. Or they could continue to struggle and face a long, difficult campaign. The Liverpool match is a chance to choose which path they want to take. It's a chance to show fight, quality, and character. It's a chance to prove that this team is capable of competing with the best. Whatever happens with the training situation, whatever decisions the manager makes about team selection, it all comes down to those 90 minutes at Anfield. That's when we'll get real answers about where this team is and where it's going. Final thoughts before kickoff. As we count down to Sunday's match, there's a lot to think about. The training absences have raised questions, but they might turn out to be nothing more than sensible player management. Bruno and Casemiro could come into the match fresh and ready. Or there could be issues that prevent them from being at their best. We won't know until the team sheet is announced. We won't know until the match kicks off and we see how United set up and how they perform. That's the beauty and frustration of football. You can analyze and predict all you want, but you never really know what will happen until the ball starts rolling. What we do know is that United need a good performance. They need to show they can compete in these big matches. They need their best players to deliver. And they need a bit of luck to go their way. Anfield is never an easy place to go. Liverpool are never an easy team to beat. But United have quality in their squad. They have players who are capable of rising to the occasion. If everyone is fit, focused, and ready to fight, there's no reason United can't get a result. The training situation has given us plenty to discuss and debate. Now we need to see it translate into what matters most, the performance on the pitch. That's where United will prove whether they're moving in the right direction or whether there's still a long way to go. Thank you for reading. Thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive into the training news and what it all means for United's trip to Liverpool. Here at United Daily Updates, we're committed to bringing you detailed analysis and honest discussion about everything happening with our club. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our content. We'll be covering the Liverpool match with pre-match build-up, live reactions, and post-match analysis. We'll break down what worked, what didn't, and what it means for the rest of the season. We love hearing from you, so drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the training absences are concerning or just smart management? How do you think United will do at Anfield? What team would you pick if you were the manager? Let's have that conversation. United are about to face one of their biggest tests of the season. It's time to find out what this team is really made of. Whether you're optimistic or worried, excited or nervous, one thing is certain. Come Sunday, we'll all be watching, hoping, and supporting our team. Because that's what being a United fan is all about. Let's hope for a great performance, a positive result, and 3 points coming back to Manchester. Come on United!